Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today I just wanted to make a quick video just taking a look at the Apple leather MagSafe case for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I know a lot of people generally are quite curious about how Apple cases actually hold up, and this particular one, even though I've not had this case on from day one, originally what I did was, obviously if you see my channel, you can see I ordered the entire pack, every color and every variant of the leather and silicone case from AliExpress, just to do a comparison with the genuine items. And what I found was obviously the quality of those third-party ones, or the fakes, the replicas, the clones, whatever you want to call them, they weren't the best. Buttons didn't quite line up, fit and fitment was so tight that it's almost pressing the phone, and as a result obviously your buttons would never have that tactile feedback. So what I did do was I purchased, originally when I actually bought the phone, I did buy this exact color. This is supposed to be the sort of tan leather. Originally when it came, it was almost a very bright orange. It wasn't really that brown compared to previous years, but I think the idea was that obviously over time it's going to patina, and even though these cases don't patina as cases did in the past because of the coating that they use, it would darken over time. Now what I'll do is I'll just try and insert a little clip on the side just to showcase what it actually looked like when it first came, and then you can see how it actually looks now. In terms of looking at it and usage, this has been my primary case at all times, and that includes when I've been using it at work. So that means it's been used in very rough industrial type work environment. So I'm using it with sometimes greasy hands, that kind of thing. I'm using it in and around tools. I'm using it as a camera to take photos of serial numbers and things like that. So it's getting banged and nicked occasionally. So we do have a few little nicks, just try and get focus. We do have a few nicks in and around the case, as well as the sort of common one that I always get from using my DJI drone, which I'm amazed that they still haven't fixed that design, but it always seems to scratch just there as you're putting it in and out of the actual mount itself. This actually happened within a few days of me actually putting this case on, and it's never got any better or any worse. A few nicks here, that was where a pry bar or crowbar actually hit it whilst it was in my pocket. It swung down and actually just nicked it through my pocket, so it had a little divot there, and we have a few little scratches on the corners. Mostly what I do notice, if I just try and pop this off the phone, and then you might actually be able to take a look at it a bit better. But firstly what we'll do is I'll just show you the actual phone itself. So aside from some grubby finger marks that you always seem to get on the stainless bands, as you'll see, the phone is pristine. It doesn't have a single scratch on it. The rear camera lens has built up a little bit of dust in recent days because of obviously all the work that went on behind me, but for the most part I've literally just used the case and a screen protector, and the phone is pristine condition. Taking a look at the actual case itself, as you can see, these edges, depending on the light you're in, and what I've found is under a more white light it won't actually show up that much. So under, I'd say, daylight, it doesn't look like it's patinaed or darkened that much, but when you see it under a warmer colored light, a more yellow light, it does actually become a lot more apparent. But if you do get it under the right lighting conditions, you can see that all of the corners have kind of faded off where the actual clear coat protection was on. That's all faded off, so your corners do look darker, and then even this center section, it does look darker slightly compared to how bright and how vivid it was. Almost orange looking when I first received it, so that I think definitely has darkened. One thing I have noticed is occasionally, I don't know whether it's a bug with the just with my phone or what, but occasionally when I actually pop it back in, it doesn't actually do the animation. So yeah, as you can see, I've popped it in. This is a genuine case, and it is supposed to do the animation for when you actually apply the case. Let me just try again the opposite way. So if I just put it back to back, as you can see, no animation for actually applying the case. Now I'm not sure whether that's the NFC ring on the inside that's failed, or whether it's just a bug with the phone. Occasionally when I actually restart the phone and try again, it will actually work. But that's one of those things where first time you see it and you apply the case, everybody's all giddy and everything about it, as it's just a really cool thing that they added in. But realistically speaking, you never really see that ever again until you take the case off. So unless you're changing and swapping your cases quite often, it is kind of a pointless sort of feature that's there. Right, so just popping it back in terms of fit and finish, everything, the buttons on this particular one are perfectly fine. As I said, originally when I bought the phone on delivery day, I did actually get one of these delivered. However, the buttons weren't the best, and it also had a stain. I think it was in this region here. It had some staining on that particular case, so I actually sent that one back, and I ordered another one from Apple. And this is that same case. So I've used it every day, aside from a few days when I've literally just used no case when I've been at home. Every other day I've had this phone, this case has been applied to it. It does make the phone a little bit heavier, but that's going to be expected with any MagSafe case. And with regards to the MagSafe, on this particular one, I don't think you see the ring that you were used to get on the very first generation of MagSafe. So on the early ones, you would get a ring forming around where the actual charger would attach. I am using a MagSafe charger. I always just charge this using MagSafe wirelessly overnight, and I've never had any issues with regards to it falling off or anything like that, or not charging. So MagSafe is a massive plus for me. The case has performed perfectly, and as you can see from the few nicks and little divots, I've been probably more rough with this phone than any previous phone, simply because I have that much confidence in the actual case itself. So yeah, they are expensive when you compare them to clones and replicas that you can get, or just third-party ones, which generally are probably, I don't know, maybe 10-15 pounds cheaper to them at a very minimum. But I think in the long run, if I was to keep this phone for a longer period, obviously I upgrade every year because of the channel and also just because of camera upgrades each year. But if I was to keep this long term, and somebody in my family obviously will be keeping this, because generally what I do is I just hand phones down, so somebody in my household will be keeping this. And even though I've got other cases as well, if they were to use this one, I'm sure it would keep it protected, safe and easy to use, because it gives you a lot of grip. That's the one thing I like about the leather. It's slippery enough to get in and out of pockets without snagging, but also grippy enough to where it won't actually slip out of your hand. And it does give you a lot of confidence regardless of whether you suffer from dry hands or greasy hands. So when I'm at work, because I'm constantly washing my hands, and obviously I'm using industrial sort of chemicals to clean my hands, generally I tend to have very dry hands. Now that with silicone cases is better because it actually grips better. However, with silicone cases, it would snag on your pocket and it would rip your basically it pulls your pocket out with it as you take it out. Whereas with the leather, it's slippery enough to where you can slip it in and out of your pocket just fine, but not so slippery that it actually falls out of your hand. I don't think I've ever dropped this, never had any issues like that. The only scratches on and around the case have been when I've been putting it into mounts, or obviously that one little nick where I've actually hit myself with a crowbar at work. That's actually dropped down on my side, and obviously that being my phone pocket has actually nicked it through the actual pocket material, or the actual trouser material itself. But as I say, it literally just kind of pinched the leather up. Over time, well, I have actually had a few of these over time, and if you wanted to, you can actually push it down, and as long as you pull off the loose material, it kind of fades in and blends in a little bit better. One other little thing to note is I do actually clean this quite often as well. I use just some antibacterial wipes that I actually wipe over it, and then just use a paper towel to actually soak up any of the excess moisture. And each time I do that, it does seem to brighten up again, so it goes back to that original sort of really almost orangey type finish that they actually apply to these cases. But it's still, I think, if I remember correctly, it still looks way darker than it was originally. So yeah, it will, for those out there that do like cases to actually patina slightly, it will patina slightly. It'll give it a sort of worn in look, which I don't mind. I do actually quite like this look that you're getting on the corners just there, on the bottom corners, but sometimes, yeah, it won't show as well as some previous models did under all lighting conditions. So I've seen previous ones where the whole of the back of the phone literally went almost like a dark walnut type color. So this one doesn't quite darken that much, but I've obviously only had it for less than a year yet, so who knows, maybe somewhere down the line, with more wear and tear, it will actually darken a little bit more. But yeah, just wanted to make that quick video just showcasing how it actually looks. I got it on release date, so what are we now, almost around 9 months, I'd say, probably 9-10 months depending on when you're actually watching this, when the video actually goes live. But yeah, it's about 9-10 months worth of usage. and as you can see, it's held up really well. Anyway, that's it for this particular video. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos, and I'd really appreciate if you also give this video a thumbs up. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.